Hey, Chuck Kaplinski. Oh my God. Okay, we're going to start that one again. No burping and no slurping.
Your timing was shitty.
Gotta wait until you're done. All right. Let's put our cups away now, Chuck.
Thirsty.
Hey, Chuck. It's Pam. Real Talk with Chuck and Pam.
Pam, I detect a tone of condescension there.
Never.
Oh, I guess my condescension radar is off then. I thought you were placating me for something.
It is way off. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, I'm glad you're back.
Are ya?
Yeah.
Good. I am too.
Yeah.
Well, kinda. I was.
I'm glad to see you.
I'm glad to see you too.
How about that?
It's difficult to come back to reality when you're off having fun. But then reality does come back, sometimes to bite you and sometimes just to drag you back into it.
It is what it is. There's no escaping it.
No, there is not. So let's get caught up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Last week we didn't do the podcast because I was gone.
And there really wasn't much to talk about.
No, there really wasn't. There was one movie that I had such high hopes for that I hated and you liked. Would that be right?
I wouldn't say liked, but I didn't hate it as much as you. Let's just say that.
Okay, so tell us about The Forgiven.
The Forgiven. The Forgiven is directed by John Michael McDonough, and this is a good guy. I mean, this guy.
Yeah.
He's made some really good films in the past. Always
Did you see The Cavalry?
Cavalry? Mm-hmm. I've taught a lesson on Cavalry.
Have you really?
It's an incredible film.
Okay.
Incredible
I was
film.
shocked to see that he had done that one and then he did this piece of shit.
Well, hey, everyone, nobody bats 1,000.
This is true.
And his brother is also a film director.
Oh.
He did In Bruges.
Oh. I like that one.
Yeah, great film. Film. A couple others. Good film. They're brothers. Good filmmakers, Irish. Forgiven, directed or based on a novel by Lawrence Osborne, and it stars Ralph Fiennes and Jessica Chastain. And you found out that Ralph means nothing, right?
Right.
It should just be Ralph.
Ralph. It's Ralph. Ralph Phineas.
Ralph Phineas. Well, but here he's very Ralphie. I mean, his character is very Ralphie.
Do you think so?
I mean, this guy is a prick.
He is a condescending
prick.
Asshole.
Oh, yeah. And he's a surgeon that we find out about midway through. And
Plastic surgeon, right?
I believe so. And I think there's some symbolism there. David Henninger is the character's name. And he and his wife, Jessica Chastain, Jo, they're on their way to a party. A decadent party in Morocco.
Think so?
Very much so. Out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, dear.
And out in the desert, out in the dunes, and there's a, how would you even, I wouldn't say house.
It's a palatial estate.
A palatial estate. Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Yeah. It's.
Can I look down my nose any further at you?
You can stop that at any point. At any point. Yes, Matthew Smith plays the guy in charge of the palatial estate. I don't even know how he got his money, but he's got more than he needs, and he's throwing a party and is inviting all of his snooty friends out to the desert for this party. Just. Because you can and you should if you have all this money.
Because he throws the best parties ever.
Right. And his boyfriend, played by Caleb Landry Jones, Daly, he's irritating as shit in this film, but he's supposed to be.
Yes.
And he actually, at times, I think in many ways, he is cast as the fool. Because you don't take him too seriously, but then midway through and a couple other times, he's the only guy who understands exactly what's going on. And he calls people on their shit throughout the film. And I like
not
that.
Enough.
Not enough. No, not enough. But he's really, at times, the only voice of reason as to what's going on.
Okay.
Fiennes and Chastain, they get a late start. They're driving in the desert in the night. Lo and behold, they run over a kid. Young man, I should say. Late teen. Mm-hmm. Just jumps out in front of the car, kill him. Well, they don't do the right thing. They don't call the authorities. They just throw the body in the back of the car and head to the party. And things get complicated from there because the party's host, of course, this puts a damper on things.
Just a smidge, not for everybody.
A damper on things.
Not for everybody, though.
And of course, they alert the authorities, and they alert the boy's father, who comes to get him, and he requests, kind of demands, that the Fiennes character go with him back to his home to bury his son.
His only son.
His only son. And it is on this journey that there are great revelations made.
Are you waiting for me to interject, or am I supposed to perk up at that point?
Well, There's something here.
Oh, I bet it's a great book.
I'm sure.
I would like to read the book.
This movie lacks any sort of nuance at all. It's very cut and dried. You know exactly what's going to happen. And the problem is that I wouldn't say it cheats, but it's almost like there's some scenes left out. I mean, the Fiennes character makes this great revelation by the end, and I'm thinking, how did that happen?
I don't know.
You slept in the boy's bed, you looked through a couple of his magazines, and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I'm a piece of shit. I shouldn't have done this. It happened. It's too easy.
Way too fast, yep.
It's too easy.
I agree.
It needed more balls.
Yeah. I feel like the father, and I don't recall his name offhand. Maybe you can
He's
look
great,
that up for
by
me.
the way.
He's wonderful. He is supposed to be a possible bad guy in the movie, when in fact he's really just the victim of circumstance and poverty.
Abdallah is his name.
Okay.
The actor is Ishmael Kanater.
Okay.
Definitely cuts a distinctive presence on the
Oh
screen.
my goodness,
Really liked him.
his eyes are just piercing.
Bore right through you.
They do. They
Yeah.
really do. He had an incredible part, and he played it incredibly. The two other guys, the manservants, if you will.
Ah, yes.
They were also incredible actors that gave depth to the story.
Yes.
They weren't in it enough.
Anwar
Yes.
is the guy who works for this old man. And he, I wouldn't say befriends the Fiennes character, but he stands next to him and is kind of pointing out, he's the guy who's explaining the culture and what this all means and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. And I like that relationship.
Yep, I did too. But like you said, the growth that our main character has is much too abrupt, and it comes much too late. And I found all the other characters, and I know they're supposed to be disgusting pieces of humanity, that 1% of the 1% of the 1%ers.
Right.
But they are just so atrocious that they just disgusted me all the way through. The
They were
dialogue,
supposed to.
but the dialogue was so superfluous. It was just like listening to nothing, and I didn't want to listen to nothing.
Well, but
it just droned on and on.
But they're the idle rich. They have nothing to do and nothing to say.
Well, and that was, I guess they did that well then. It just lasted a little bit too long for me. I needed some characters with a little bit more depth. And Chastain's character, nothing.
Yeah, she's pretty typical, yeah.
Yeah.
I and it was just so heavy-handed. I mean, by the end, the Fiennes character has a native shirt on, as though he's completely understood the culture now. I will say, though, I like the ending.
I liked the
twist
ending.
at
It was
the end.
super predictable. Oh, come on. They planted that seed relatively early.
I would argue that a little bit.
I called it right then and there.
It was one of the better parts of the movie, I thought. It made sense as far as...
That did.
It
was
followed
a
a certain
poetic
logic.
ending.
Yeah.
It was a poetic ending, albeit it was one that I knew. I was watching it with my friend Kristen, and as soon as this one scene happened, I said, this is how it's going to end. And so, of course, we made bets on it because we were bored most of the way through.
And drinking.
No, we were not drinking.
You weren't drinking this time.
No. I've turned over a new leaf, Chuck.
Well, and the other thing, a movie like this, you see Chastain, you see Fiennes, you're expecting something.
Yes.
Your expectations are high, and it's not. This is a script that needed another rewrite or three.
Yes.
And needed more meat attached to it. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree.
Forgiven.
I would highly recommend reading the book to see
Maybe
whether
we'll check.
or not. Yeah,
maybe
we
we'll
can
check it out. See if I'm headed to the beach next week, so
Oh, there you
maybe
go.
I'll pick it up and see what's what.
Perfect.
Now, there's a movie that comes out on VOD this week that you really liked.
I really enjoyed it, and it was actually part of Ebert Fest. It opened. No, it did not open
Yes,
Ebert
it did.
Fest. Nope, not the night before. The night before was Summer of Soul.
Oh, that's right. This was a surprise feature.
This was the surprise feature that hadn't been released yet, obviously, because now it's being released now on VOD. It was in theaters a couple of weeks ago. You were going to say something?
No, we were at the North American premiere.
Yes, we were, weren't we? Look at us.
We hosted the Q&A at the North American premiere.
Did.
What? How did that happen?
know. This one is also based on the book Phantom of the Open by Scott Murray. Mark Rylance, talk about having a great cast that you are automatically drawn to, just like with Chastain and Fiennes. This has Sally Hawkins.
Love her.
I do too, and Mark Rylance. And I know you're not a huge fan of Mark Rylance. I am a huge fan of him. I've really liked his resume. So as soon as I saw those two names, I thought, I got to see this movie. This is based on a true story about Morris, and it's spelled Maurice, but they say it as if it's Morris Flitcroft.
That's
and I
a
love
hard
saying
name.
that.
And you know, when I was writing my review,
Flitcroft?
I went back and checked the spelling of that name
Croft.
again and again because like this has got to be wrong.
Yeah, my
gotta be
computer
wrong.
didn't like it either.
Like, no,
Red
that's
dotted
right.
line.
Yeah, that's correct.
Morris Flitcroft is a bit of a lovable loser. He's kind of older. He's got teenage sons that are twins, and then another son that's a little bit older by his wife from a first marriage of hers. Sally Hawkins plays Allie, the wife. And together they're an odd couple, to say the least. They live in, I forget what they call it, the row housing that they have in
Right, yeah.
so they've got no money, really.
Working class.
Yeah, very,
Working class.
working class. And Morris decides one day that he's going to try and play golf. No, he's not going to just try and play golf. He's going to go to the British Open.
Has he ever picked up a golf club?
No. That would be like me saying I'm going to go to the U.S. Open, the Women's U.S. Open. I think I just might do that. I had a really good game the other day. I was, what is it called, a double bogey for every single hole. Which is really good compared to what Morris could play.
I always wanted to be in the Daytona 500.
Well, there you go.
All right.
Just sign up. Well, that's what this guy does. Now, granted, this is back in 1976, and he does pen and paper, or pencil and paper application, mailed it in, and through some clerical error, it got put into the stamp approved pile, and he finds himself accepted into the British Open, never really having played golf. Well, he better pick up a set of clubs somewhere and start practicing a little bit. And he practices a little bit, and it turns out he sucks. There's no two ways about it. He is a really horrible golfer.
What did he shoot? 121.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't remember.
121.
On the front nine. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
He's awful. He is absolutely awful. But this movie has heart, and Morris, lovable loser that he is, tries to do something to create a dream for himself and follow it, and his family supports him every step of the way. It's funny, it's quirky, it's comical. Maybe a little over the top in some places, but I really enjoyed this. I think what really held me to the story is knowing that this was a true story. In fact, they have a Morris Flitcroft. It is hard to say.
It's hard to say.
Some sort of an outing in Michigan every year.
Yeah.
And then I think there are other awards that are given out for like the worst golfer ever. In fact, my husband used to be in a dental society that they would do an annual golf outing, and they gave him a fishing pole at the end.
That's clever.
I like fishing.
That is funny. That is funny.
So this is to me a lot of fun. What was the other movie that we put?
The Duke.
The Duke. That it's kind of similar.
Very
the
similar.
Duke is a little bit better. I think, in quality of production and writing. But it's on the same vein.
Right. Common, working class English guy upsetting the system in his own little quirky way.
Right.
I liked it. I didn't love it like you did. Yeah, you're right. I have some problems with Rylance. I think he's just too at times. I see what he's doing.
Okay.
I see him acting.
Okay. Fair enough.
And I don't like that.
Okay.
But Hawkins, I mean, she can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. And I liked, the movie's just not about golf, and that's the other thing that I liked. It delves into, the relationship with his older son, who's ashamed of him. And the two boys who want to be world champion disco dancers, and Dad is like, yeah, go for it.
Follow your dream. Don't go to college. Don't get an education.
Yeah, this disco thing will last. You'll be fine. And that is at the crux of the film. The whole, I kept thinking as I was writing my review about Don Quixote, and you go for that impossible dream, and no one else sees it, but you do, and you stick to it, and there's something to that.
Do you want me to sing?
No.
Okay.
But here's something I do want you to do. Okay.
Yes.
How did you describe this movie?
How did I describe it?
How did you just describe it in a couple words?
A couple of words. It's a quirky comedy.
Quirky.
Yeah, quirky, charming.
Charming?
Yeah.
I want you to remember that. I want you to remember what she said. I want everyone to remember what she said about this movie, okay?
I'm scared.
We'll talk about it next week.
Shit.
We'll talk about it next week.
Okay, now I'm gonna be. What's going on next week? Okay, all right. So the big movie of the year, probably, or of the summer anyway.
Probably the summer, yeah. Although I don't, I'll be surprised if Thor: Love and Thunder makes as much as Top Gun. There seems to be no stopping that movie.
Where is that at now? Do you know?
It's over $1 billion
Wow.
internationally. And the thing that's interesting is if you watch, it did something that very few films did. In its 5th week, it became the #1 film again.
Really?
That does not happen.
Wow.
That does not happen. You
for
constantly,
them.
after the first weekend, you see them fade
Yeah.
and fade. And this thing just, it was that quirky week. And it came back at $50 million and was #1 again in its 5th week of release.
Fantastic.
So it is the one to beat as far as money is concerned. But then again, Marvel, hey, they always rake in $1 billion as well.
Do they usually rake in that money more overseas than they do in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the formula now is in the U.S. They hope to earn enough to pay for the film.
Okay.
Then everything around the world is gravy.
Okay.
That's the formula that they use. You want to make enough here to cover all your costs, and then whatever else we get, put in our pocket.
Okay.
So, and that's usually how it works, because these movies run, $250, $300 million. And that's about what you're going to get anymore at the U.S. And I'm sure this one will be a hit. I really like this film. I know you didn't. But I really liked it because there was humor. There was excitement, and also the thing that I've been lacking in a lot of the Marvel films of late is I've had no human connection with any of the characters. I didn't care about any of them. This one I did. I really cared about Jane, and I really cared about Thor, though I have big problems with him being rendered as an idiot.
Yes.
I hate that.
And see, that was one of my main things. I mean, Thor, come on. Thor is a god.
Right.
Thor has the father, Anthony Hopkins,
Right.
Thor
Odin.
is Odin, thank you. Thor is wise beyond wise. He is a god for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 2 or 3, I guess there were 3 other movies, we always forget about the Dark World one. Is that what that was called?
Underrated.
Okay.
I think it's underrated.
Okay.
It's not great, but it's not as bad as everyone says.
Okay, so three before, but he never has looked like a stupid, bumbling idiot.
Well, a little bit in the 3rd one, and that's why I didn't like the 3rd one, which is also directed by
Taika Waititi.
I mean, he played it all for laughs, and which is okay. This one, the first 40 minutes is all for laughs.
Yeah.
And then we segue into something more serious, and I liked that. I know a lot of people are like, well, you can't do. No, you can. I didn't like that it was a joke the first 40 minutes, and then he came off as a boob.
I didn't mind that there were jokes, and I liked Taika Waititi's narration. I thought that was hilarious. That got us up to speed as to what happened in the other 3 movies and where we're at and what happened in Endgame and trying to put it all together.
Because you don't remember any of this shit.
Because I don't remember any of this shit. But I like his sense of humor, and
I do. But he has to rein it in.
he does. And after we review this film, I want to talk a little bit about the article in, was it Variety that we got?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think looking at Chris Hemsworth, he is, I think, a director's dream. Well, he's my dream too, but he's also a director's dream, because I think he can morph into any character and take on the attributes of any director and what they say to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first one was directed by Kenneth Branagh, and I think that's how and we've talked about this before, how Thor is much more of a Shakespearean, powerful.
Right, that's how he looked at this whole thing.
And that's definitely a Kenneth Branagh influence, I think.
Uh-huh.
And then I don't remember who did the second one. Whatever, and then it's Taika Waititi, and then there was it was almost like Thor became 2 people in that 3rd rendition of Ragnarok, and now here we are in the 4th one, and Taika has full reins and he goes full steam ahead, and I think that Chris Hemsworth tries to take on the attributes of Taika Waititi, and he's not Taika Waititi.
Right.
And I lost it. I'm
right.
like,
That's not Thor.
No, and Thor has to be smart, and he has to be powerful, and okay, you can be in love and be a little stupid when it comes to love, but there still has to be that underlining strength, and he lost it.
Yeah. Well, you say that Waititi's sense of humor has to be reined in. He didn't rein it in at all in the 3rd one. And that's why I didn't like it.
Okay.
Here, I thought it was reined in, whether it was by him or the script, Because as I say, we get much more serious here
Right.
as the film goes on. Thor, just to catch everybody up to speed, he's brokenhearted. He doesn't know what to do because his hammer's broke. He's very, existential crisis. And we see him at the beginning with the Guardians of the Galaxy, which I thought was quite funny because the Guardians are sick of him.
Right.
They want him to go because
Right.
he's moping around. He doesn't know what to do. And then he comes in and saves the day. And that was really well. And the Guardians are in it just enough. 10 minutes and they're gone. We wait for him in the next movie. I thought that was great. He returns to New Asgard. And New Asgard, which is being run by Valkyrie, Tessa Thompson. Love
She's
her.
amazing.
Love her.
Yep.
She's turned it into a tourist trap, basically. There's golf
Which is
courses.
hilarious.
I thought it was hilarious too.
Yeah.
You got the cruise ships are there, and the golf course, and the bad plays, and Matt Damon shows up again as
Oh my
Loki,
God.
and Sam Neill is Odin, and then we have Melissa McCarthy, and it's verging on tacky. New Asgard is. But things take a serious turn when all the children there are kidnapped. And they are kidnapped by Gore, the god killer, played by Christian Bale. And I really liked this character.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there for a sec because I want to back up to that first 5 or 10 minutes of
With
the
the
movie.
prologue where we see how he becomes who he is.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was in tears.
Heartbreaking.
Oh my God. That was just something in how powerful that this man who wholeheartedly believes in the gods that he has prayed to, and he loses his daughter, and he still believes in the religion that he has been brought up by, and his people are all gone, and he's one of the few survivors, maybe the only survivor, and then he is laughed at by the gods.
You're a fool.
And yes, for
Yeah.
believing. Come on, dude, get it together. So, I mean, just the elements of religion and parenthood.
Yes. Faith.
Incredibly powerful. I was wiping away the tears.
Well, and again, that's why I like the next section of that film, because once he comes back in, the thing I like about the Marvel villains is most of them you can relate to. You might not agree with what they do, but you understand why they're doing it. I mean, this guy has
Sometimes,
lost...
if it's told well.
Right. I mean, this guy's lost all faith in everything. And, he's attempting to save others from making the mistake he did of believing in gods who are going to let you down.
Right.
So he's just going to kill them all.
Right.
I really like that.
Yeah.
So Thor needs to go save the kids. But, boy, there's a twist. Because the girlfriend, Jane Foster, shows up. And guess what? She is Thor. Something has happened in which she now has control of the hammer. And she is now the god of thunder. And, boy, does that throw Thor into a bunch of confusion. I loved that.
Okay.
I just loved that. She's sexy as hell. She's strong as hell. She's
is.
having fun. She's having fun, too. She's trying to get her catchphrase. Doesn't know
Yeah.
what her catchphrase is when she's going into battle. I thought that was cool. And I loved when they go to the dark realm where Agora has the kids. They wash out the palette, and it's all grays and
Yeah.
blacks
Yeah,
and white. I
sepias,
thought
yeah.
that was really neat. That was creepy
That
as
felt
hell.
very comic booky.
Very
too.
much so.
And I liked that artistic choice.
Very much so, you're right. Along the way, though, they do stop at the city, planet, whatever, of all the gods.
Okay.
And that is one thing that I would love to freeze frame and just pick apart. Because this thing, once you see it, it will knock your socks off. And I'm sure, I wish I had a key telling us which gods were which, because
Right.
you can tell as the camera goes around, these are actual gods I've seen pictures of from other cultures.
Okay.
And I thought
Oh,
that was
interesting.
really, really smart as far as what he was doing there with that.
When that comes out on VOD, we'll have to take a look at that and see if we can freeze frame it and figure
And
it out.
I would hope, they send us all this swag.
Yeah.
A book
Oh, that would be good.
on the art of this, I think would be
Yeah.
great, because this visually is one of the better ones. But we run into Zeus, played by Russell Crowe. You will not be able to understand him the first couple minutes he's on screen. I didn't know what the hell he
either.
was saying, but he's Donald Trump. He's Trump. He's a braggart. He talks a good game, but he can't back it up. He's an isolationist because Thor comes and says, hey, this guy's out here killing all the gods. What do you say we all get together and fight this? And he basically says, well, go screw yourself. There's nothing to worry about. So I love that whole political subtext that
I
he
didn't even see that.
snuck in
Yeah.
there. And the conclusion, very apt. It all made sense to me. I know I'm going on and on about this one and probably shouldn't, but it was the piece of escapism I needed right now.
Okay. All right. I felt it kind of slogged a little bit in the middle. I was, thinking about different things and other things while I was watching.
You realize
the movie.
it's the shortest Marvel film?
Oh my God! Seriously?
1 hour 59. It's the
By
shortest.
what? 12 minutes.
Still,
Still, it's shorter. It's
we've complained about that for a long time.
Yeah, this is true. It wasn't short enough for me. I really did feel like when they kidnapped the kids, it felt like I had a repetition of scenes.
There's a couple things that could have been cut. I agree.
I think maybe a good 10 or 15 minutes, and then maybe I would have held my attention a little bit better to that, because then I did kind of wander a little bit. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I can't say I really liked it, because I'm coming into this because I know I'm not the only one out there that is not a superhero fan.
Right.
So I'm coming at this from a different perspective. Thank you for one last slurp on the podcast,
You're welcome.
Chuck.
I want to make sure that this is live and, that we're humans and not, there's machines talking. Yeah, sure.
That I think that if you are not a fan of this series, you're not a fan of Thor, don't go see the film, because I think you're not going to enjoy it.
Good enough.
That's from my perspective.
Right.
I would not have gone to see it.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm making faces right now.
No, and I think that's the problems Marvel is running into now. I mean, we're well into this thing, and there's no jumping.
Think 27, 28,
There's no
29.
jumping on here if you haven't been invested.
You're absolutely right. So, but there are those standalone ones like Guardians of the Galaxy. Those are standalone movies that you can go to.
Sure.
You don't have to know the background about a lot of things, because the music is fun and they're quirky and they are snarky and it's
The
fun.
first one, yeah.
And Iron Man, those, this stuff is like, you don't have to see the other 26 Avenger movies. You know?
If you want to go back.
Right. But you don't have to.
But I'm saying going forward, there's no jumping on this
I don't
train.
think there is either. I don't either.
Take
an airplane, not the train. It's faster.
Well, and I can see where they're going, too, with all of this. It's all going to be younger heroes now.
Yeah.
And you can tell with who Thor ends up with at the end, the direction we're headed with all this.
Yeah. And stick around for the credits. Make sure you see all of the credits. Not one credit, but 2 credits.
If you're a Ted Lasso fan, and that's all I'm going to say.
I was going to say that in my review, and I thought, no, don't do that.
No, you're not saying anything.
Okay.
You're not saying anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goal!
There was a cheer in the audience.
Yeah, there really was, wasn't there?
When that moment occurred, and you'll know what we're talking about once you get there.
So I think that's all we have for this week.
Right.
And next week is kind of light, too.
No, there's a ton of stuff next week.
I'm still in vacation brain.
Yeah, you are.
What's next week? Please don't make me go. Or don't make me go.
Don't make me go. Okay, I'm not going to make you go.
Okay, that one's coming out. And I've got an interview with the writer and director and the lead actress in that movie. So that'll be a part of WCIA.
Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris is next week. 2 horror films are next week. One is called She Will, and the other is with Winona Ryder, called Somebody Left, or I don't know what.
Gone and Forgotten.
Gone and Forgotten, something like that.
It's with Winona Ryder and Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah, is it Dermot Mulroney or is it Dylan McDermott or is it? I always get those two mixed up.
That's thanks to Saturday Night Live. I didn't mix them up until they started doing that.
Really? They do that on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I always had that problem. I was like, who is that? Gone in the Night.
Gone in the Night.
With Winona Ryder. Yeah. So, and there's a couple coming out that we haven't seen next week. This Crawdad movie.
It's a book. It's a best-selling book.
Yeah, apparently it's a thing. There's a lot of people looking forward to Where the Crawdads Sing. I walked in Barnes & Noble the other day, and it's a big pile of them sitting right there. And I'm like, well, I guess I missed that boat.
I was going to read that in Park City, and then I didn't. So, yeah, and we did not see the screener for it yet.
We'll get to it eventually.
We eventually will.
But yeah, plenty of stuff to talk about next week. And again, remember that Pam mentioned Phantom of the Open was quirky and charming. We'll recall that again next week. We'll see you then.
I'm scared. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.